Hey, what's up guys? It's James, and today I'm going to be setting up a Proxmox cluster. We're going to try and get some high availability VMs set up on these three mini PCs. They're N95s, 16 gigs of RAM, and they've got 512 gig M.2 SSDs in them. So I've got all three set up here. They're kind of daisy chained off this bigger power adapter, so I don't have to have three power adapters plugged in. We've got our 1 gig network switch here. They're all hooked up. We got HDMI so we can see what we're doing. We got keyboard so that we can install Proxmox, and we have our Ventoy here for our boot media. If you haven't used Ventoy before, you should check that out. Kind of lets you make one boot CD or one boot device that can have multiple images on it. So that's kind of cool. You'll get to see that here in a second. But okay, so we got the first device ready to go. I'm not sure what the BIOS key is. It's either delete, F12, F10. So we're just gonna hit all those and see what we can get. Let's go to that screen. There we go. Perfect. Let's see. Yeah, so 16 gigs of RAM, Intel N95. Let's just make sure virtualization's enabled. That should be good. All right, let's go to boot. Nope, let's go save and exit. We'll boot here to our flash drive. So here's Ventoy. I've got a few images on here. But what we want is Proxmox 8.3. So we're gonna go into there, I'm gonna boot that. I've only got the keyboard, so we're just gonna do the terminal setup for Proxmox. Here we go. So here's the user agreement. In order to do replication or high availability, we need to use ZFS. Now we only have a 1 drive here, so we don't want it to use our flash drive as another drive. It's good. I'm in the Chicago time zone. Okay, we need to give it a root password. And another root password. And then we need an email address. That'll get used for like alerts and stuff if we set up like send mail or something. Okay, gonna change the host name here. The cluster is gonna be the rock, paper, scissors cluster. That's a good little trio, easy to remember. Going to give it a dedicated IP address. So this will be rock, this will be paper, and this will be scissors. So we'll have to keep track of that if we need to make sure physically which one's which. Okay, so we're about to set up Proxmox. It shouldn't take too long. Okay, so it's about done with this. It's just finishing up the last step to make the system bootable. So it should start to restart here in a second. There it goes, auto rebooting, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're gonna do that. We're gonna pull the boot media and our keyboard. I'm sure it'll restart just fine, so I'm not even really gonna sit around for it. So let's go ahead and get our next device hooked up. We got our HDMI so we can see what we're doing, our keyboard, and our boot media. We're gonna power it up again. F10, F12, and delete. There we go, we're in. Same thing, N95, 16 gigs of RAM. Gonna come here and boot into Ventoy, Proxmox 8.3, terminal. And we're going to install. Make sure everything looks good here. Yep. All right, so we'll let this install, it'll reboot, and we'll move on to the next one when this is done. All right, so we're at the same step here, 99% make system bootable. And then we'll move on to the third device. Let me get our video plugged in here, HDMI, keyboard, and Ventoy. And we're gonna power on, get into the BIOS. There we go. Gonna boot into our flash drive, Proxmox 8.3, terminal, light just went out, appears to be restarting. Okay, we're back in BIOS again. I'm not sure what happened. And there we go. So now we just need to wait for this one to install and reboot. We'll have 3 machines on the network. We can get to the web UI and we can start setting up our post device install stuff. And then set up our cluster, make a VM, try to high availability. So we'll stop it here and pick it up in the web UI. See ya. All right, so we've got our 3 devices set up with Proxmox. So now what we need to do is we need to finish setting them up. So we're going to connect to our first device here. Port 8006. There we go. So root, and then the password that we set during installation. Just do that, log in. There we go. So we're logged into Rock. Same thing. Here's paper. And our third device. Again. Okay, and scissors. Now, there's some post-installation stuff that we need to install. You can see all of the scripts on the GitHub page. But we're just going to run them through Bash. They even tell you be careful to check the scripts, which you should do. But this is just going to clean up some stuff post-installation. So you just need to go into your node, into the shell, and paste in that command. And what it's going to do is it's going to pipe in the script using wget to download it from GitHub. It's going to pipe it into Bash and just execute it. So here it goes. So yes, we're going to run it. It's got a couple options. We are not going to disable high availability because that's the whole point of what we're trying to do here. So there it goes. So we're going to go to all 3 of our nodes. We'll run the same script the same way. Let's try refreshing here. maybe. There we go. Let's do that. Yep, okay. So now we can start to set up our cluster, which is under data center, I think. Set up our cluster. So we're going to create our cluster. Our cluster name, we'll call it rock, paper, scissors, high availability. And that's all we need there. Oh, that looks like a valid node name. Rock, paper, scissors, HA. There we go. So this is basically going to generate a key pair that we can use to connect all of our nodes together. So we've got rock in the cluster. The cluster's rock, paper, scissors, HA. Come here, here's our join information. We can copy this. Scissors might be up. Yep, let's see. Cool. Paper is up. Oh, perfect. Okay, so we can go to the data center tab on this one, go to cluster. And instead of creating a cluster, we're going to join a cluster. So we just have to paste that information in. And then we have to put in the root password of the device that we started the cluster from. So do that. And then we'll join the rock, paper, scissors high availability cluster. And there it goes. Request addition of this node. Still going. Login. No, that might be it. So we'll come back here to data center. And there it is. Paper shows up as 102. We can see that rock and paper are now both showing under data center, and we can get to paper from here. So basically they're now connected, and you can use any of the cluster devices through any of them. So right now we're connected to rock 101, but we can access paper, no issue. Same with scissors. We're going to go data center tab. We're going to go cluster, join cluster. We're going to paste the exact same thing in. We're going to put in our root password for rock, right? Peers link address 101, and we're going to join. So let's go back to rock. And there's scissors right there. Go into the shell. There it is. We're connected to 103, even though we're connected in the web UI through 101. ISO images, download from URL. So this is going to give us the Ubuntu desktop environment installation media, and it's going to save it to rock node 1 so that we can use it to create a virtual machine. So let's see how long this takes. It'll start giving us like a progress bar here in just a second. There we go. 5 megs. So it's going to take 17 minutes. So we'll come back when this is downloaded and we'll get our VM set up. Okay, there's our Ubuntu image. So let's go create a VM. Node VM ID. I'm going to use the IP, so we're going to go rock. Actually, no. We don't need to do that. We're just going to say it's the rock, paper, scissors, and it's Ubuntu desktop. Oh, that's the VM ID. Well, we don't care about that. $100. Okay. Storage, local ISO. We'll just leave the defaults for this. Yep. Give it 64 gigs of storage in our ZFS. Give it 4 cores. We'll leave the core type alone. Give it 8 gigs of RAM. We'll leave that. Finish. Okay, there's our VM. We will boot it up. We'll install Ubuntu really quick. Try or install. All right. There's gotta be like a notepad or something. Text editor. Okay, VM 101, VM 100 on Rock. We'll save that to our desktop. There we go, VM 100 on Rock. Okay, so we got our VM running, Ubuntu desktop on Rock. Now what we're gonna do is go to the data center. We're gonna go to this menu here on the side. HA, high availability. Good group first. Here we go. All 3 nodes. Rock, paper, scissors. HA. Yeah. We're just gonna call it rock, paper, scissors. So no failback. That means that this VM's running on Rock, which means if Rock fails, it'll go over to paper or scissors. And what we don't want is if something happened, or what we don't necessarily need is if we're running on paper and scissors, we'll say that's fine. We don't necessarily need to go back to Rock if Rock recovers. So we're gonna do no failback. Restricted just means that I believe it has something to do with which VMs it's allowed to use. So not a big deal. Say Rock's number 1, paper's number 2, scissors is number 3. There we go. The rock, paper, scissors group. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to this here. We're gonna go to replication. We're gonna add replication. So we're gonna say paper. Every 30 minutes, we'll limit this. There we go. And we'll also copy it to scissors every 30 minutes. That way we're not like using our full bandwidth here. So it looks like it's syncing right now. Okay, so now we got our VM running and it's replicated. We can go to the data center, go to high availability, add a resource, assign it to this group. There we go. So quorum okay, master LRM. So Rock has it right now. And depending on priority, it'll either go to paper or scissors if something happens. So here's what we're gonna do. We're connected 102, which is paper. Here's Rock. Rock is on. The VM is running. We're in the VM. Whoa, that's trippy. Let's do this quick. Okay. Get the screen to load there. All right, well, the VM's running. We can see that. We have it here too on the screen. So VM's running. Here's our text doc. So switch to this shot here. So we have rock, paper, and scissors. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the plug on rock, which is running our VM right now. So rock just went down. We can see that because we're connected to paper 102. Let's go look at our high availability. So here we go. Quorum, okay. Paper, idle. Scissors, idle. Rock, dead, question mark. Here we go. So it was started or running. Now we're on the fence. This takes a second. You see it's 1801 here, 1759 there. So it's been about a minute and a half, I guess. Here it is. It just moved it over to scissors. Starting the node started, it says it started. Come over to scissors. There it is, there's our VM on scissors. Our VM's not running there anymore. Let's open up the console. There we go. Sign in. There we are. Our VM's running. Now on scissors. So you can see up here, we're on paper, which is number 2. VM ID 100, which is the same one we set up. The rock, paper, scissors, Ubuntu desktop. And the node we're running on right now is scissors. So there's our high availability. It took a couple minutes to flip over, but not a big deal. We wouldn't be, with this setup, that's what we're gonna get. We're not gonna get instant or continuous, because we're not using anything like super fully redundant like that. So it's on scissors. We had paper, rock, paper, scissors. Rock went down. The VM migrated to scissors. This is scissors, our third device here. So now let's pull the power on it. So since we're on 102, we'll be fine. You can see here our VM stopped responding, so it's dead. VM has stopped. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring rock back online so that we have quorum again. Okay, so it just updated fence. So now any second, it'll pick a new node. It looks like we're going to paper, back to paper. There it is. It's starting on paper. It's in the pre-boot in the grub. Or pre-start, whatever. There's a countdown, 15 seconds. We're just gonna skip it. There it is. Our VM's back up. And There's our text document, so you can tell that it's the same VM100 on Rock. We're just now on paper. So we were on Rock, we shut down Rock, migrated to Scissors, we shut down Scissors, brought Rock back online, had quorum again, and it moved to paper. So there you go. As long as you've got two nodes that can talk to each other and decide what to do, where resources should be set up, you can have a high availability cluster.